Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the 74th Annual Pacific Northwest Scottish Highland Games and Clan Gathering. This year, because of the COVID virus, will be virtual, but we want to bring you some of the excitement of the games so you'll remember us for next year. And don't forget that your annual dues and your contributions this year pay for next year's games. So please help us out in that manner. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, all of the athletes, the drummers, the pipers, the dancers, the bands, every one of us, we can all together feel our blood boil when those mass bands come on the field, and we want you there. Next year, the last weekend in July, the 75th Annual Pacific Northwest Scottish Highland Games and Clan Gathering. We'll see you there.
Oh, well, hello. Welcome. Sorry, I was just doing a little practicing for the beer garden. Welcome to the first and hopefully last virtual athletics to honor the 2020 Highland Games season. I am your co-host today, Brett Haas Lathrop, and with me is the bald, the bulbous, the beautiful, the big daddy in the house.
Daddy in the hizzy.
You're looking good, big daddy.
Hey, thanks, brother. Not looking too bad yourself.
I've got my throwing gear on because I was practicing a little earlier. I assume you were doing the same.
Absolutely. Actually, I was practicing this morning. We had a games last week in Montana that went amazing. So, yeah, just knocking the rust off.
Very good. Yes. Well, there's plenty of time to knock that rust off, unfortunately, because we're not with you live. But we're inspiring everybody to come back out and see us in 2021 at the Seattle Scottish Highland Games, the Pacific Northwest Highland Games event and Clan Gathering. So we're going to take you through this hour, talking a little bit about the games, about the events, show you a couple videos, and just have a little fun. Right, Big Daddy?
That's right. I'd like to welcome everybody to our virtual studio on Zoom and those watching us on Facebook Live streaming. Slunchamore.
Excellent. Yes. Now, for those of you who don't know, and I don't know how they couldn't, Big Daddy, because we're kind of a big deal, but we do our
under a rock or something.
But we do our own. We do our own podcast, and our own podcast is called Fork Talk, and in that, we've had this opportunity. I'm thinking something's interesting here, Big Daddy. This virtual podcast with video, it's kind of like our mission to get on one of those eventual flights to Mars. Remember, you and I are signed up for that ship to Mars that's going in a few years?
Yep, so we can get away from gravity.
Right, we've done that, everybody, because the gravity in Mars is much less, and our throwing distances are going to be huge when we'll have the PRs and world records for as long as we're there, right?
Well, we'll have the Martian world records for sure.
Yeah, you know. But because we're virtual, Big Daddy, it seemed to me that we've got the ability to do whatever we want. People might think I threw 100 feet this afternoon, and what are they going to know? They didn't see it live.
No,
right?
You can trick everybody.
All right, I know.
Smoke
I love
and
it.
mirrors, baby.
Smoke and mirrors. All right, first, Jay, let's talk about why the claw. The athletics, obviously we hold the games at Enumclaw, and a lot of the athletes call it the claw. It's just known by around the country as the claw. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about why the claw is near and dear to our heart.
Oh, well, that's a good one. So I'll tell you my personal experience. Got out of the service in 1996. Saw a poster for the Enumclaw Highland Games, or the Seattle Highland Games, and watched it and fell in love. It was awesome. All the guys throwing, all the pipe bands, the dancers. It was just a blast. Had a great time, and I think I've maybe missed attending 1 or 2 years since then. So it's always a great place. Love it.
Yep. Well, obviously you're the athletic director, and I help you out in that endeavor. So obviously it's near and dear to our hearts on an annual basis because we put on the athletics part of the events that people come to see. And if you haven't been there before, It's pretty easy to find us. If you go over to the horse arena, which, appropriate, put the athletes in a giant horse arena
Yeah,
so
it's
that
like a rodeo.
we can stay out of trouble, right?
Pretty much.
There's a good, kind of couple thousand seats worth of seating there for you to take a look. In fact, I'm excited about the new arena that they've been tweaking, because I think we might have new stands in
Yeah.
2021.
Well, we had more room last year after they did
Right.
the initial tweak. And at first we were a little concerned about it, but it actually opened it up great. So
Yeah. And what you'll find when you come to the games is 2 different days of athletics. The first day is mostly about the elite athletes, these professionals that come in from around the world to compete in the events. We get some of the best and some of the most entertaining athletes that you can get out there, and they're going to put on a show for you. But also, you'll see in the background, there's both amateur men and amateur women classes going on. So all the people that are not pros but are out there enjoying their time with their friends and throwing for their personal best, they're out there for both days. And
Right.
so, boy, just a great time to come out and see us. I too, Jay, just such an honor to get to throw on that field, right? It's a limited games. Not everybody can get on. You usually have to get your numbers up pretty good because of the elite orientation of our event. So it's exciting when you get to throw on it. And it was one of the great honors when I got to throw on that field, for sure.
And one of the things I think a lot of people comment too is the area that it's in, the fairgrounds. I think it's still the King County Fairgrounds, but when you look around, it's got almost that Scottish flavor. You got some big hills coming out of a plain, and just a whole bunch of beautiful trees and scenery and wildlife. And it's all connected to a really nice little town, Enumclaw, just kind of nestled in there. Good people, hardworking folks, and it's always been, as far as beauty goes, I'd call it one of the most pretty venues that we throw in, especially out here on the West Coast. So
you're absolutely right, Big Daddy. Another thing is the claw ranks in the athletics world really high. People may not, know this, obviously, because you're just coming out, you're eating your turkey leg, you're seeing some pipers, you're seeing some dancers, and you're going to see the big guys throw stuff. But the Enumclaw, the games at Enumclaw, in the throwing world, in the athletics world, it's a top, 6 or 7 venue in the country, right? There are some really big games like Stone Mountain and Pleasanton and Portland, and the games, the Seattle Scottish Highland Games Association that puts on the Pacific Northwest Games there in Enumclaw. It is one of the big show. We call it the show. It's big. It's prestigious, baby. A lot of people come to see it. So it's a great Saturday or Sunday afternoon.
It's the North American Championship. So we have so many spots for Canadians as well. And so whoever wins their class for that year is essentially the North American champion. If you win Pleasanton, you're the U.S. champion. Canada has their championship, but it's kind of an all-encompassing championship. And if you get good numbers there, a lot of the guys will go on to get invites to the Celtic Classic or the Worlds. So it is a big game, and a lot of people want to get in. So
absolutely. Well, so let's get into it then, Big Daddy. Let's play a video for those who are new to athletics. This first video, and Megan's going to get ready to tee this up for us. This is a great example of off-season practice and work. And this first video is from one of our beloved local athletes, one of our elite pros. His name is Damian Fisher. Damian lives up in the Fish. He lives up in Bellingham area. He's a strength and conditioning coach for Western Washington University. He's a wonderful man. He and his wife, great supporters of the athletics. And and you'll see him doing a weight for distance practice. We have, as you know, Big Daddy, it's either the 56-pound weight for distance, which is the heavy weight,
The Widowmaker.
the 42-pounder that's for you and me, for the old guys, and then the 28-pound, which is the lightweight. And this is a 28-pound weight for distance right here, everybody, streaming us live. She's big. You don't want to catch one of these in the face as she gets thrown 50, 60, 70, 80 feet.
I've caught a few of those in the face. They had to rereplace them. Not my face.
Which is why you got a face for radio, baby.
That's right,
That's what
baby.
I said. All right, so Megan, let's play that first video.
Beautiful.
Great extension.
Yep.
Really good separation. We're going to play it one more time here, everybody.
And what you people will notice is Damien will do a 2-turn. He does 1, 2, and then release. Damien's obviously very adept at this. He's got great form. Amazing.
Thank you, Megan. Megan, that's great. Yeah, so what you saw there was Damien throwing, probably on a practice one like that, Jay, he's throwing probably 70 feet, 80.
Yeah, I'd probably go closer to 75, 80-ish, depending on how he's doing. But that was a nice, smooth throw. And it didn't look like he was going all out, so he might have been just kind of throwing for range and form. So even – Damien Fisher is 6'7". He's very long, very athletic, and so he can get that wingspan to his advantage and really get that weight out as far on the chain as possible. So, yeah, he's a great coach, and he's also a really good, as far as just strength and conditioning, he's also a very good throwing coach. He knows he can dial down the form. If you have a problem, you can send him a video and he'll diagnose it and fix it. And so, smart guy.
Yeah, and he's a great example there of what people sometimes don't realize, which is the really good for athletics in Scottish Highland Games are a combination of flexibility, their movement, and the physics of how long the levers are that they can get those weights moving around in a centrifugal force. And then, of course, the strength, the raw strength that they have to launch it. And when they do those things in combination, it's just beautiful. And those things just skyrocket.
Yeah. And they'll tell you, the throws that go the farthest are the ones that they feel are effortless. They don't even feel like they're struggling at all. So, which is true. All of my PRs have always been the very easiest throws ever. So,
speaking of you, let's switch over to another video. Let's do a Big Daddy video. This is a stone. This is a stone put, right? I believe it's stone. And you're going to push it Bramer style. So there's a light stone, everybody, and a heavy stone. And the heavy stone
this might be the Bramer, but I'll let you know when a video pops up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me know when we get on the back side of the video here. So this is Jay. We're going to play this just once, Megan. Go ahead and throw that just once out there.
This is open stone.
Shut up, I'm
Thank you all for joining us for the 2020 Highland Gathering. We sure do appreciate it. We are so excited to have you all here today. Just wanted to let you know we're going to have some of our Celtic dancers. We have a group from the Flathead Valley, the Flathead Valley Kootenai dancers. Sorry, not Kootenai, Celtic dancers. They're going to be on stage in about 15-20 minutes.
Better.
So I want to let you know that we will have our...
Very good, Jay. Oh, look at you putting the guns out. Sun's out, guns out.
Guns out, baby.
Okay, so I apologize. You, so in that video, you were doing the open stone, which is the lighter stone. It was what, probably a 16 or 17 pound stone?
It was 16 pounds.
Yep. And you'll notice, everybody, he had his back to the trig, which is that board that you can't go past. And he did what we call a shuffle step. He shuffled 1 foot back, and then he did one more real quick one. And then he planted and turned and then pushed all his rotational force through his hand and out that rock. And boy, Jay, you had a really nice height on it. It had a good distance.
Yeah, I've been working a lot on my stone technique because sometimes most of the time I just do a standing throw because I'm too lazy to actually do anything else. But I've been working on just doing that glide technique, and it's been feeling pretty good. And I've been, getting a few more feet on my stone. So that was actually at the Montana Games, which was last weekend. Sorry about the audio. It was a phone video. But if you notice the beginning of the video, I turned around and told the announcer to be quiet because I was getting ready to throw. Because, as everyone knows, I'm like the Tiger Woods of the Highland Games. I like the gallery quiet.
Yeah. I think maybe more like you're a prima donna, and so you want everybody's focused on you. That's call me crazy.
There is that. I only have so many minutes.
That was a great example, everybody. And of course, the Bramer stone, which is a heavier stone, it'll be up in the 20-pound range.
Yeah.
That's where Jay would have put his feet right on that toe board. And all he has the ability to do, he can't step at all. All he can do is basically lift his heel, rotate really fast, and push that weight out through. And it's a little bit shorter distance, but just a whole lot of strength and technique there. Fantastic. Yeah. All right, so Big Daddy, let's play another video. This video is from Damian Fisher again, and this is the hammer.
Oh,
and so like weight for distance, everybody online, the hammer comes in 2 sizes as well. Here's a hammer right here. This is the lightweight hammer. It's 16 pounds, right, for the men. And it has a 50-inch handle on it. And it's and then there's a heavy one as well. And it evolved from earlier games. The stories are it's possible that the early Scots even took like a big old sledgehammer and just for fun after the farm day. I bet you I could throw this hammer farther than you kind of stuff. And they wound up that hammer and threw that anvil as far as they could, right? That's potentially how the hammer started. Of course, there's the modified Olympic version of it, which is a ball on a chain that the guys swing around their whole body to release. But in this one, you'll see it's a bit of a modified version of that as it's evolved today.
Yeah.
What am I having?
They use them as weapons in that regard too, where they would actually sometimes even light them on fire and such. So there's a lot of different lore, but I think most of it revolves around a bunch of guys, just hanging out at a bar and picking something up and saying, "I bet I can throw it further than you."
Right.
So.
Right. So let's, Megan, let's tee up that hammer video from Damian.
Damian is very good at the hammer, by the way. So
very good. This is at Enumclaw, everybody. This is the look behind the cage at Enumclaw.
Boom! Look at that.
Look at that extension. She's going to play this one more time, everybody, because that's really fast. That is a rotational speed that is insane.
I still don't think that hammer's landed.
That's right. He can't get long enough here, right? He throws it out. 1, 2, 3. Every rotation faster and faster. And he's so jacked up, he's jumping up and down.
And that's unusual for Damian. He does not he is not a very excitable guy. So that obviously was a huge throw for him,
That's true. He's a very soft-spoken, mild-mannered kind of guy. He was obviously super excited about that throw. I'm sure that throw was out there at 140 or so feet, right? Yeah. It's a really long ways. And on that, we have to be very careful during the games. When you guys come out this next year in 2021 to see us, you'll notice that when the pros are on the hammer, we have to basically put everybody else to the edges and corners because that hammer is going out 130, 140, 145 feet. It's almost the full distance of the entire arena. And so it's awesome to see, but we have to make sure our safety and everything is paramount. So that's a great video.
And one difference with the Enumclaw games versus other Highland games is we throw off a platform. Other games, they throw off grass. And a lot of throwers that do the hammer, they have spikes attached to the front of their shoes. They're like blades. And it helps anchor them in so they can get really spun around and bent backwards in full rotation. And it keeps them grounded. We don't have that luxury at Enumclaw. So when they're throwing off that platform and they're hitting 125, 30 feet, that is a huge throw because probably in blades, it would be another 10 or 15 feet depending on the guy. So
very true. Yeah. Very true. Yeah, that's awesome. So Big Daddy, as we transition now, let's talk a little bit about our favorite claw memory.
Oh, yeah.
Our favorite memory, or a couple, right?
Yeah.
What's one of your favorite memories about the games at the Pacific Northwest
As a competitor?
Gathering? Yeah, well, sure.
I would say 1 year, not too long ago, I actually got 3 12s on the caber, one after another. And it was nice because, as you know, Enumclaw, they have a white line that's drawn down the side. And I followed that because my judge, Ken Shaw, is 5'6" on a tall day and has a hard time seeing over me, even though I'm 5'10". And he's a little blind. So laying that caber on that white stripe made it very easy for him to score. But it was 3 12s in a row, and it was just beautiful. I enjoyed it. The crowd there is always so amazing. It's my favorite place to throw caber because that crowd gets behind you, and even if you just give them a wink or a wave, they just go crazy. So that's probably my favorite, if not one of my favorite memories.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, for me, like I was saying, I wanted to, I volunteered because I didn't get in on my first attempt to the games. And so I was volunteering, right, to make sure, and I was the great, blessings to him, the late Wally Olzek, the athletic director for the games for years. And I was sitting there volunteering, and an athlete, which I think was you actually, hurt themselves in warm-ups, and
I was signed up. I was signed up to throw 2 days. I was throwing amateur A Saturday, and the last caber toss of the day, I tore my calf muscle. So I wasn't able to throw on Sunday, so that opened up a spot.
That's right. So I was standing there, and I was pleading with Wally, baby, I can fill that spot. I can throw on Sunday, please, please, please. And he pointed a bony finger my way and said, "You're in." And boy, that was one of the best days of my life because I got to throw on that grounds and be a part of that event for my first time, and that was super, super fun.
Wally actually accused me of pulling lame on purpose so that my spot would open up so you could get in. And then I told him I showed him my swollen calf muscle with the bruise on it, and he believed me then. But yeah, at first I think he was a little hesitant. So.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to another video. So here is the athletic director, the newly anointed athletic director to the Tacoma Highland Games. Our man, Dan Sowers. Dan is a fantastic local guy as well. I think he lives just a couple minutes from Enumclaw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Dan's a wonderful supporter of the games. He's a part of our kind of overall crew. He's been doing a wonderful job as one of the leaders of the Mothro, that is a charitable event that they have in the fall for the men's health type stuff. And then so Jay,
Yeah.
hold on to yourself. This is going to be a sheaf video.
I'm holding
Sheaf.
Sheaf.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're
best
about to
event
see the greatest event ever in the history of Highland Games. I think Megan wants to get right to it. Here she is.
There it is. Perfect.
Oh, fantastic.
Right
All
on.
right, so that was a 20-pound sheaf. They come in two sizes. The ladies throw a 10-pound. The Masters men throw a 16. And Dan there was throwing a 20. And that was the first time that was a PR for him back then, Jay. He got that over 20 feet, which was
Right.
great for him. Now, everybody, this is what he was using. This is a 3-tine fork. It's modified. These are very old, say 40 to 60.
3 times.
40 to, that's right, 40 to 60-year-old tines. And they're attached to a new handle. And as you saw, he stuck that burlap bag that weighs 20 pounds full of just string and straw. And he swings it, and then he launches it as hard as he can up and over the bar. He has 3 attempts at each height, and the bar just keeps going up a couple feet at a time. And many of our classes will get up into the high 20s, even 30 plus feet. And so the crowd loves it. That bag is going high and flying. Everybody really gets into it at the games. It's a real big, one of the favorites for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes it so popular is the fact that that bag does go so high, and it's fun to watch, and the crowd gets behind it. So
Yep.
Definitely a fun event for people.
Now, everybody listening, I'm not saying sheep, S-H-E-E-P. I'm talking sheaf, S-H-E-A-F. And same probable original founding. This sport was probably a couple farmers challenging each other, throwing hay bales of certain bundles of straw up into the hayloft, and just throwing them, and then saying, "Well, I bet you I can throw this up over the roof. I can throw this higher than you." And so, of course, at some point, it got turned into a games. Yep. It's become an incredibly popular part of the athletics all around the country. It's quite serious. And it's Jay and my favorite sport. In fact, we even started our podcast called Fork Talk just because we love it so much, which talks about athletics in the Highland Games and various other strongman events. So That was a great video from Dan. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Dan Sowers.
Right.
You lovely man.
And so Big Daddy, let's talk a little bit about the direction of athletics as we build off of that Wally era. Mm-hmm. Because we've had a transition. You and I have now done this a couple of years, but we've still just started kind of putting our stamp on the athletics at the Seattle organization. We're absolutely honored that they allowed us to be a part of that, and our main man Ken Shaw being a part of the crew. And so let's talk about what we think, especially for the audience. What do we want them to see when they come out to see us in 2021?
Well, as you know, my philosophy has always been pretty simple. I want athletes, good athletes, but more importantly, I want entertaining athletes. I don't care if somebody can throw a world record and then snubs the crowd. I want athletes that engage the people, will talk to the little kids after the games, take pictures with people, just be a crowd favorite, you know. And last year we brought a couple of very entertaining characters. One I can tell you, Isaac Burchett. Um, the crowd was chanting his name, right? And it was fun for everybody. And really, to me, athletics is, it's, of course, it's our deal. It's what we do. But the people that come to the games, they want to be entertained. You know, they don't want to just sit there and watch people throw heavy stuff. You know, they want some entertainment. They want, you know, some characters, right? And I think that's what we've been really good at providing. And our job, you know, as far as I'm concerned, is to try to keep people in those bleachers. And, you know, as you know, those bleachers aren't super comfortable and it gets really hot up there. But if we can, you know, keep people there enjoying themselves, you know, maybe just get a little rest before they walk around and see some of the other events, I think we've done our job. So that's what I
Yeah.
mean. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, entertainment is critical, and during the high point of the day and in the afternoon, every seat is filled. They're lining up around the area and on the rink, standing room only. So come on out and see that for sure. Obviously, we're focused on safety. As you can imagine, and you don't see this when you're watching the games, but obviously we're throwing heavy things through space and time, which means you got to be careful. You have to have all these plans in place so that the angles and the way people and our volunteers and everybody moves around the day are being safe, because we don't want anybody hurt. You know, it really can be a bummer if someone hurts themselves through just an accident, right? So we focus on safety.
And for the most part, they usually are accidents. We don't always have people on the field throwing at each other.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And then,
but you know, one of the things that happens every year, and it amazes me, is when we're throwing sheaf, and that bag will come off the fork and it'll land right in the stands, usually in a seat, you know. And thankfully, it's early enough in the day where nobody's actually in that area. But it never, every year, I would say every year I've attended, and I've been throwing there since the early 2000s. It happens every year. The sheaf pops up and ends up in the stands. Right?
yeah, just once. Lucky fan gets that sheaf.
Yeah, they get to keep it, I think, if it lands on them. I'm not sure.
It's not landed on anybody yet. Everybody calm down. There's no safety issue here. Yeah, we definitely keep an eye on that. Well, and as you said, Big Daddy, there's a kids event. So for those of you with littler kids, right, you want to watch us throw some heavy stuff, awesome. The kids are going to get antsy after a little bit, and they're going to want to go do something else. Right next to us, right on the side of the arena, there's a kids athletics area, and they've got mini cabers of appropriate height for the size of the child that wants to try it. Boys and girls, because we got men and women throwers, right? Equal opportunity here. Come on out. The kids can get help from myself or other people. We'll help them, show them how to pull it up and pick it and throw with it. And we're gonna talk about caber here in a second. But the kids have got stuff for them to do as well, in addition to all the other awesome things. So it's just such a great day to come out.
Well, it keeps them away from, you know, the swords and stuff, you know, because they
Nothing
all
wrong with
buy one of those big swords, you know.
Oh, so you're saying we're saving them money? No, we want them to buy those. We want them to buy those swords, Big Daddy. We want our vendors to do well and everybody to have a souvenir. So,
well, we're
absolutely.
saving them from hurting themselves, is what we're saying.
All right. So, speaking of which, let's play one more video. This is the big show event, as they say.
Most Highland Games.
Most people will say, hey, what's that thing you guys do? It's some kind of tree or a telephone pole that you do. Yeah, that's called the caber.
Well, that's universal. Anytime, and you know this, anytime anybody asks, you know, about the Highland Games, the first thing they ask you, oh, do you throw that big stick, the telephone pole, whatever, you know? That's the only event they know, though. They don't know any weight for distance, anything like that, so.
Right. So Megan, let's tee up that video. I think this is Big Daddy on the caber here this last week when in a small games in Montana that he was able to
Actually, there
join.
were 85 people at that games.
Very good.
There was a lot of people. Athletes, I mean, not just.
Got a hot mic.
Yeah. Like I said, I apologize for the quality of these. It's a telephone video. There's the pick. Taking it for a little run there. And boom, up and over.
And a post.
That walked by was Polly. She's one of the athletic directors for that game. So
there you go. And a pause for the crowd.
Yep.
All right. So what you saw there, everybody, was the caber. And if you look on our website, on the SSHGA website, you'll see the big video that was done to promote how everything went last year and for you to come out in 2021. And you'll see some wonderful drone footage of cabers as well going up and over in that video. So I highly recommend you check it out. So what you saw there was, first of all, the stand up by another athlete for the person that's going to be throwing. And they say, good, I've got it. And the tapered or small end is at the bottom and the bigger end is up at the top. Cabers can range, depending on the class, anywhere from 60 to 80 pounds all the way up to 100 plus for the pros. And they also are between, say, 14 feet and upwards of 20 feet. So the longer and bigger, of course, the harder it is. As you saw there, it's not a some people misunderstand that they think it's a distance event. It's an accuracy event. The whole point is to pick up that caber, they call it the pick, and settle in and find a line where you're going to start walking, and then you start running a little bit, and then you're going to plant and pull with all your might up high, pulling your hands over your head. And the goal is to get that caber to land and have that tip fall away from you. And you saw the judge in the yellow shirt behind Jay, and that judge is making sure that when Jay stops and he goes to pick or goes to pull, he creates basically an imaginary clock face in front of him. And the judge is sitting behind him and waiting to watch where that caber falls. And if it comes over and it falls over to the left, it'll be like an 11 o'clock, like on the clock face. Or if it falls to the right, it might be 1 o'clock. And if it's a perfect throw right across, straight across off their head, straight away from them, it'll be at 12 o'clock, and you'll see the judge raise his or her hands up in the air, and you got a perfect score. So, boy, and everybody loves the caber. It's always fun. Of course, a signature and awesome event.
Well, it's exciting to watch and exciting for people to cheer for the people trying to do it, So
right. Yep. We love the caber, so come on out. Again, the kids can try their luck at a small little caber that's plenty safe with people to help them out, and everybody in the stands can watch the various classes go and take down the big cabers. Now, we didn't show some events in video. We unfortunately don't have the time during our time with the athletics segment of our virtual games today. There was a couple we didn't show, Big Daddy. First of all is weight over bar.
Right.
Weight over bar is another strength event. It's a 56 or 42 pound weight, a 28 pound weight for the women. And it looks a little bit like this weight for distance, except it's bigger, and the handle is right next to the little pin here, just like that.
Yep.
And you swing that thing between your legs and up and over your head, over a bar. And the bar, you have 3 attempts to get over the bar, and the bar goes up a foot every time. And boy, I tell you what, There's nothing like seeing one of the elite athletes with a 56-pound, I don't know, the size of a 8, 9-year-old, throwing them up over a bar and getting it over, right? And they're going up 18 feet. It's amazing to see. So it's a strength and technique.
We actually had an attempt at the amateur world record in Montana. A kid, not really a kid, he's a full-grown man, but everyone's a kid to me. He Comito is his last name, Carter Comito, and he was going for the world record, which I think it was 18.6, and the kid missed it by a hair. I mean, he just had a lot of power, and he'd been throwing a lot before that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really exciting to watch. You know, it was a good time. So there's a lot of these, young amateurs that are coming up that are going to start breaking some records. So.
Yes, that's fantastic. All right, so we've actually got a little bit of time here, Big Daddy, and so I wanted to give the audience a hint into one fun little game you and I like to play, and they'll see this on our podcast if they check us out on their podcasting streaming app of choice. Again, the podcast is called Fork Talk, but we love to play this game, everybody. We play this game called Historical Figure. Historical Figure.
Historical Figure.
What we like to do is we like to think about historical figures of the past, and we talk a little bit about them and kind of what their background and life events were. But then specifically, we want to know, I wonder if they'd be any good at throwing. I wonder if they'd be any good at athletics. And then, of course, we also talk about if they were good at athletics, great. But would they be any fun hanging out at the Kaylee or at the beer garden later on? So one of our first historical figures, for example, was the great Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Can't get enough of the Abraham Lincoln bit. And so as you can imagine, Abraham Lincoln was known as quite a tall guy, right?
Yep,
Lanky.
6'4".
And he had very long arms. And as you heard us say in that previous video, the longer you can get those implements and hammers out away from your body and rotating in a circumference at speed, the farther they're going to throw. So, Big Daddy, I think Abraham might have been, old Abe might have been really good at the hammer, for example.
Oh, yeah. Only he was a rail splitter, the guys that split rails, right? So
yeah,
swing a big axe, and so he was very strong in the hands and wrists and arms, and he was a wrestler, so he was athletic. So I think he would have, and we said this before, he would have been a great Highland Games athlete.
Right. Farmer strong, you wouldn't necessarily know it to look at him. It's not like he's all bulbous and big, lats and all that, like the Big Daddy. But he was just like genetic strong. He's just farmer strong. He just and those, you'll see those guys out there, everybody. When you come see us out in 2021, you'll see someone out there who maybe doesn't look super big and strong and muscly, could be a little bit leaner, but you'd be amazed. Some of them are amazing throwers because their technique and their just raw strength is so amazing, and they just launch those implements. So,
it's years of hard work.
Right. Yep. And then, of course, we also talk about our historical figure as it relates to, would they be any fun at the beer garden?
Well, that's, the 10th event, right?
Exactly.
So.
And boy, if you haven't been out to the games that the SSHGA puts on, then I would highly recommend you come out. Maybe have one day for you and the kids, and then get a sitter, and then come out on Sunday. Just you and the wife or the significant other, just yourself, come on out and see the events, do a little different part of the games that you didn't get to see with the kids, and then hit the beer garden afterwards. And at the end of the day, everybody's finished. And old Abraham Lincoln probably would have been a good guy to hang out and have a pint with, and I don't know, talk about the day's events, I think, Big Daddy. What do you think?
Well, the athletes are always, we always saddle up there to the beer garden after a heavy day of throwing, and I cannot even tell you how many times a spectator has come up to us in the beer garden and talked to us about the events and the games. And, we've had people come out and say they'd like to try it, but, we create a nice banter with the people and in the beer garden. And I think it really promotes the cohesiveness of the Highland Games. We have pipers, we have the drummers, we have the dancers, mostly the pipers, but we're all out there having a good time, throwing back a couple of beers and just, chatting it up. And, we've made some lifelong friends there, but the spectators get to come out and talk to us, and it's always a fun time.
Yeah, that is absolutely what it's all about, is that camaraderie and community that's created. You saw in all of the previous segments, from the Celtic Kennels through the dancing, through the Harpers, everybody just becomes a great community of people that love to see each other every year. And we're really missing each other this year that we can't be together. But we are super excited about to put on a huge event for you in 2021. And I think we may look a little scary in the beer garden, but I assure you we won't bite. Come on by and say hello. And as Jay and I always say, and I'm fond of Jay and I are big supporters of the fact that Highland Games doesn't work unless you've got that trifecta of the dancers and the pipers and bands and then the athletics, right? It's the three-legged stool, and then all the other wonderful things that come with it. But from the games part and the competition part, those are those three main elements. But we always give our fellow pipers and band members a little bit of grief because everybody assumes the big guys are in the beer garden drinking the most. But I'm telling you right now, everybody, that the pipers, they've got an opportunity to be there earlier than we do, and they're pretty good at it as well. So don't be surprised if you see the pipers in there as well. But
yeah, I can guarantee you that there will be a few pipers still left at the end of the game.
Now we are, so as we wrap this up, first of all, Big Daddy, thanks for joining me as my partner in crime for this athletic segment of the virtual games.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to our executive team for putting this on, and of course special shouts to Megan, who's been an amazing person to put all the technology and elements of this together. Jay and I are really missing.
Good job.
We are really missing that. There's one. I'm going to leave them with one thing from myself, Jay. I really miss that time early in the morning. There's a bit of dew out still. We're getting ready to start throwing. The crowds haven't quite shown up in force yet. And I can always hear in the background a drummer or a piper starting to warm up for their day. Just that single drum, that single pipe, just getting her tuned up. And I tell you what, it just hits my soul when I hear that early in the morning. And I'm missing that so much, and I can't wait to see it here this next year. And I hope you all join us and come out.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We were out there 5 o'clock in the morning for an interview with a news station last year, and it was peaceful. It was quiet, and like you said, you hear that piper warming up, and yeah, that's a special time, and that's always been for us. You and I have been doing this for a long time. Even just you and I just being together, setting up games and stuff, and it's those little tiny moments that lead up to the games or even that are after the games that I always remember, so
yep.
Yeah, it's always a very special culture.
And we encourage you to come out and be a part of that family for us next year and throughout the rest of this year. Keep us online at SSHGA. We've got a new podcast on there that you can listen to called Haggis Talk. We've got a variety of different events going on, hopefully throughout the year as things hopefully can get back to some normalcy. And that is the time for us, the athletics, the Big Daddy, and the Hoss, signing off. Up next, Big Daddy, speaking of pipes, we got the bands coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Megan's going to shut us down. She's going to get going and start those bands and all some wonderful videos, the mass bands, all that kind of stuff. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And Megan, you could take us offline. Thank God the boys are over.
You